Merry Christmas, everyone! This is Jackie here. I hope you're all having a really good time eating your fill, all that turkey and lovely mashed potatoes, all the stuffing that you could have, going out, dancing it out, parties! When you've totally exhausted all of your energy and you're looking for something to do, I'm sure that you'll be on a couch and catching up on some well-needed K-drama love. But there are so many! It seems like a new drama is released every week or something. You're overloaded, your senses can't keep up, your eyes are drying out. What to do? Well, that is what I'm here for. Jackie is going to cut down the fat and show you what's really worth watching. I'm going to be giving you recommendations of the cream of the crop, also informing you on what is entirely skippable. So please continue watching Kimchi Reviews, and if you like what you see here and want more, leave me comments and subscribe to my video. So first off, we have Buraku, or more accurately pronounced, Black. The story goes as thus. We have a Grim Reaper who gets himself involved in the human side of things. His own fault, really. He goes in to inhabit a real human body and starts doing things that Grim Reapers aren't really supposed to do. Over the course of events, he meets a human girl who has a very special and peculiar capability to see into people's futures. Now, this is not just any future that I'm talking about. Specifically, she can see when people are about to be deceased. And also, under certain conditions, she's able to see how is it they are about to snuff it. Pretty handy ability, I would say. Pretty unfortunate too, and she gets caught into all sorts of dangerous scenarios that her Grim Reaper has to save her from. This seems to follow a little bit similarly to a very popular series that just ended about Grim Reapers called Goblin, which blew up the K-drama charts all over the world. And just like Goblin, Black has a story with all of these elements. 1, a Grim Reaper. 2, a girl with special powers who gets mixed up and involved with the Grim Reaper and later on, of course, becomes her romantic interest. That is not a spoiler, by the way. You can tell from miles away that this was going to happen. So what could go wrong? Well, for Black, that is everything. So unlike Goblin, Black doesn't carry out or mesh together all of these elements in a really nice, cohesive blend. Unfortunately, the main leads were really poorly cast. I just couldn't bring myself to care much about either one of them. And when you don't care about the main leads, there isn't much to compel me to watch the rest of the series. It's really poorly paced. There are not a lot of standout, tense, explosive moments that keep you hooked for more. In fact, well, this was accidental, but I went all the way to episode 11 to start watching Black, and it looked really interesting, and I was falsely led to believe that was actually the beginning of the series. This is how slow it goes. And if you want to get a taste of it and just content yourself with at least knowing you've tried, skip to episode 11. And after that, you can feel that you've satisfied your K-drama craving for Grim Reapers and move on. The viewership ratings gave it a general 7.0 out of 10. But for me, it was a very solidly mediocre 5.0. Not worth watching, guys. The next up, we have The Package. It seemed very enticing. The viewership gave it very high ratings, and it's also starring the lead Jung Hyung-hwa. He is a very well-known K-pop idol in the band CNBLUE. He can sing, he can play the guitar, he can play the piano. He is one very talented and startlingly good-looking guy. The package was filmed in northern France for almost all of the episodes, so it was a pretty expensive undertaking. The premise for all of the characters to travel to northern France is because they're part of a tour group who is led by a very pretty tour guide and also female lead of this drama. Chung Yong-hwa is one of the single tourists. Unfortunately, the female lead and Chung Yong-hwa don't make the best and most convincing couple. They just don't have that chemistry and don't seem to match. I don't blame them altogether. I always blame the writers first. If you start out with a poor script as a foundation, you're going to get a poor product out at the end, no matter how talented the actors are. Some people felt compelled to give it a whirl because it is a Korean drama set in a very pretty part of the world. But if you want to see what northern France has to offer, how about checking out a tourist guidebook instead, like The Lonely Planet or France's tourism website, or better yet, go there yourself. Don't experience northern France through a K-drama, please. As I said before, the viewership gave it a pretty high rating of 8, but for me, it's just a 5. I wouldn't even recommend any episodes for you to wet your lips on. Do I really have to talk about While You Were Sleeping? Oh, that's actually the name of a drama. I don't watch people while they're sleeping. Really, unless you've found yourself lost and secluded in an island off the coast of France for the last little bit, you couldn't have missed While You Were Sleeping. It's truly that brilliant of a show. It's tense, it's lovely, it's fun. The story is about a girl who has a very stressful dilemma. While she sleeps, she dreams of people's futures. She doesn't usually dream good things. Bad things happen in the predicted futures. The dilemma is she can see their futures, but she can't seem to do a darn thing to change them no matter how much she tries. That is, until she meets her fated man. The theme of this drama is fate and how fate can play out and how you shouldn't give in to fate. It's very empowering. If you have the courage and the will, you can change people's lives for the better. And this is what the essence of this drama is. The romance is very strong between our two leads, believable and fun to watch. And the romance is started by our female femme fatale. She's beautiful, she's quick-witted, she's courageous. One of the things that I love about While You Were Sleeping is the tense plot lines builds and weaves all the characters and their backgrounds into it, like the threads of fate being tugged and tied together. Despite all my glowing praise so far, there is a drawback to this drama, is that it starts to slow down 2/3 of the way through. And that must be because all of the most important characters have already had their big reveals in the first 2/3 of the series. The drama community gives While You Were Sleeping a 9.5. I give it a 9.0. I deducted half a point because of the slowdown in the later bits, but I do absolutely love it. Like lots. Next recommendation that I have is a recent release. In fact, it's trending so popularly, it's now on Netflix. This is seriously an uncovered gem. I'm only 3 episodes in and I am madly in love. Madly! Deeply, truly. The show is called Smart Prison Living, and in Netflix they have subtitled it as Prison Playbook. But you'll find that the rest of the K-drama community just simply calls it Smart Prison Living. The actors are supremely talented and they are expertly casted and immersed into their roles. You couldn't find a better cast to fit those roles. They are perfectly believable, and there are quite a few notable actors into it. For example, Crystal, this guy, and a fellow named Jung Hae-in, who you will recognize from the second male lead for While You Were Sleeping. The story is very simple. A guy goes to prison. Doesn't get any more simpler than that. But really, it's what happens to life within the prison that makes the meat of the story. Our guy, our male lead, he's not a bad person. Due to extraneous circumstances and a questionable jury, in my personal opinion, he has found himself in the company of murderers, thieves, money launderers, all sorts of questionable people. So we get to see how our superstar baseball player deals with the hand that he's given. Our male lead is a quiet hero. Like I said, he's got a good character, and he doesn't let go of his moral values, his conscience, and the need for him to do the right thing and to do it smartly, because he's in a prison and people can just backstab him. So he's a good guy trying to make the best out of a bad situation. While you're watching Smart Prison Living, I would suggest that you take note of how our baseball star is coping with his new and evolving situation compared to his loved ones around him. Our main lead is a stoic, quiet character. He doesn't have a huge range of expressive emotions. He's pretty stoic and calm most of the time. So it's interesting to see how his supporting cast seems to be his anti-aliases and expresses their emotions in his place, metaphorically. I'm not saying that the main lead doesn't act out his emotions, but he does it in a way that is attuned with his character and fully compatible. It's very subtle. You just have to watch for it, and when you do, you could feel what he's feeling, even though he doesn't have to rearrange his face around that much or cry big globs of tears. Now that makes good acting. Each episode is 1.5 hours long, but it doesn't feel that way at all. It is that good. Compelling, exciting, draws you in emotionally. The viewership gave this a rating of 8.0 so far, so it's a huge like. But for me, I'm liking it lots. I give it a full 10 out of 10.